Tennessee is a tough team to predict. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm really conflicted on Tennessee. And yet I'm going to try and predict their season here right quick. To set the table, of course, they're coming off a playoff appearance. Josh Heupel has saved this program. He pulled them all the way out of the ditch, and they're back up on the main road. High road? I don't know. They're on the main road, though. What is the energy around this program in December, though? Because it's a very, very interesting case study. The whole Nico drama happened, and Josh Heupel put his foot down. Nico's gone, and the fan base was very proud of him. They should have been. I would have been if I were a Tennessee fan as well. All I'm saying is, if it's 7-5 or 8-4 at the end of the season, do you have that same energy? We'll see. Some of the biggest questions with this team this year, of course, first and foremost, what do they get from the quarterback position? I think a couple of things. First thing I think is, I think Joey Aguilar will eventually be QB1 for this team. But I also think that's not decided right now. And Merklinger's still in this. McIntyre probably not. But there's still a legit quarterback battle going on here, which is not the biggest shock in the world. You brought a guy in from UCLA by way of App State who didn't even know he was going to be a Tennessee Volunteer as late as spring. So, yeah, he hadn't locked down the job yet. Josh Heupel, quarterbacks normally don't have issues with turnovers. He has in the past. Now, it could be that there's a reason Heupel quarterbacks don't have a big turnover issue. His system is conducive to them not turning the ball over. So you may take a turnover-prone player like Joey Aguilar, and maybe in Heupel's system, that problem is eradicated. Or maybe it's not. That's why it's a question. Does the offensive line give them a chance? When we were there even last year, if you're asking the staff about next year's team, offensive line was always a concern. They knew it. It's not something that snuck up on them. They had a good run game last year. They lost 160, I think, starts off of the offensive line alone last year. Again, they knew it was coming. So it's not some problem that's just reared its head unsuspectingly in fall camp. They just got to work around it. They just got to be good enough there. This is not going to be a Joe Moore Award contender. They got to be good enough there. Can they lean on the D again? Immunity. Because defense carried them last year. It wasn't offense. Again, I think last year is painfully misremembered by the general college football public because you think Josh Heupel, Tennessee, made the playoff. They must have been a pinball offense. No, dude, they got shut out a bunch of first halves, and the game was still there to win because of Tim Banks and his defense. I expect a little regression in production level defensively, and either I'm wrong or I'm right, but it's mild, or I'm right and it's severe. I don't think it'll be severe. But how much is the regression if that is the case? They were 7th in defensive points per game allowed last year. I don't think that'll be the case this year. They were 6th in yards per game allowed. You're just asking a lot of rotational players from last year to play meaningful starting roles this year. That's college football. That's the way it is every year. But they've really, I think, got to overachieve for defense to just be able to carry them to the degree they did last year. Hey, wait just a second. I appreciate you guys watching. Most of you are subscribed. If you're not, please do so. It's free. It helps us keep the show free, and that's how we do college football year-round. All right, back to the video. What's the best position group on this team? Got a lot of different answers. I asked around Tennessee circles. Some people said corner. If Dramad is healthy, yeah. I looked at tight end, and I'm rolling the dice a little bit here. I'm kind of guessing how they'll have to go about it, but they need tight end to come through. Miles Kitzelman and Ethan Davis are pretty solid 1-2. It's not the Georgia tight end room, but they're a pretty solid 1-2. But I just think that with the drop-off maybe a little bit at wide receiver, at the very least inexperience in the system at quarterback, I think tight end's going to be very heavily incorporated in this passing game this year, and they need those guys to come through. Now, the breakout player, actually, I think will be Mike Matthews if he's healthy. There's a lot of if healthy with Tennessee right now. He's a former 5-star wide receiver. He's got a big opportunity on his plate right now. Someone's got to step up at wide receiver. And so if he's healthy, I think Mike Matthews may be the guy who breaks out. Now, as for schedule, Tennessee got a big break. I mean, a big break. We have this graded as the easiest schedule in the SEC this year. Their road games, like when you have to go on the road in the SEC, you want it to be Mississippi State. It's not that it's easy. It's that, relatively speaking, that's one of the more manageable road trips you could ever have. At Kentucky, ditto. I also think, I don't think Tennessee measures up to Bama or Florida this year. Just candidly, I don't. So if you're going to play them, burn a couple of your road games playing them. Because I had those chalked up as L's anyway. They do get Georgia at home early, and that one could be a season definer. Because if it's competitive, that's one thing. If it's a blowout, and even if you've avoided disaster against Syracuse, that's probably what sets the season on the trajectory it will be set on. The model spat out 9-3 as the best case scenario for Tennessee. I think 10-2 is the best case. But the model's saying no, there's a lower ceiling on this team this year. And that's probably because of quarterback uncertainty, obviously. I just think in the best of worlds, quarterback pans out okay. And therefore, I think it should be 10-2. The model says otherwise. It thinks 9-3. It thinks the worst case is 4-8. That just means you lose all your losable games. So like you lose Georgia, Arkansas, Bama, Oklahoma, Florida, Vandy. That would also make those road trips at Mississippi State and Kentucky are not gimmies. So it sees 4-8 as worst case. The most likely record that the model paints for Tennessee is 7-5. It has them going 7-5 this year. So I go back to the point I started with. If you feel like your program is in a good place, can you swallow a 7-5, 8-4 season?